I played many a guitar lesson on this to Pat back in Philadelphia, South Philadelphia, and I basically keep it in a nice place so it doesn't get messed up. But really, a lot of history and a lot of great chords. And of course, Pat, one of the first exercises here, I hope I don't mess this up. One of the first things he taught me, and I had to go home and practice that, and as you can see, I'm out of practice, but I went home and I remembered, like, I'm never going to make this by next week. And it was the most amazing, my first lesson was just mind-blowing. And when I got the gig with Stevie Wonder, he used the same guitar, and I basically took my lessons with me and applied everything he taught me. I heard one of Pat's records, it was one of his first records, and it immediately resonated with me. It was like, it's only happened a couple times in my life when I've heard like Indian music, and when I heard Jobim, it was like I could automatically play. Like, you know, The Girl from Ipanema, it was just like downloaded like the Matrix. And when I heard Pat, I had to, like, it was like an epiphany. And he was great. I mean, he would just, like, when I came in, I was so young and everything, he told me to play, and I don't even know if he would remember this so long ago, and I started playing all my Pat Martino solos that I transcribed from my 2-track, you know. And he says, well, what do you want to learn? I said, I want to learn how do you play this stuff? How do you come up? And he goes, well, you're already doing it, you know. And he was already kind of going into the 12-tonal classical thing. He goes, well, here's what I'm doing, and he just started playing this stuff that was like so unbelievable, and it just took me to in other words, I was ready. It's like they say when you're ready, the master, you know, arrives, you know, when you get to that level. And I'd sit there for that hour, and he would sit there writing like, it was like unbelievable. It was like Da Vinci. You know, I wish I have my books back in Philly, and his handwriting was like perfect, and it was just an amazing experience for me. I'm just so lucky. A lot of the stuff Pat taught me was like, there's the stuff in the song that goes like they're actually his lines, like, let's see, and you know, like stuff like that kind of stuff. That's all Pat. I mean, I'm soloing through the whole thing, and it's really basically my lessons. and his, you know, you hear like stuff like, oh God, you really put me on the spot here. All that kind of stuff, you know, and you know, just like those that kind of stuff. It's all that's Pat. It sounds like a TV show, you know. But I mean, you know, and I put him in my own songs. These amazing stretches that he does, that kind of stuff, you know. I mean, that's, you know, I'm 14 years old, and I'm wondering, I love this, you know, and then like I hit the real world, you know, at 17 years old, I'm going, what am I going to do with all this? There are blueprints. You hear Stevie Wonder within 4 notes, you know who it is. You hear Pat Martino, you hear all, it's another blueprint. So I guess around 17 years old, I get a knock on my door, and it's a friend that says, hey, Stevie Wonder's looking for musicians. And I go, you mean that Stevie Wonder, the blind guy? I really didn't know, because I was into the jazz world. I said, oh, that's that guy, 13-year-old guy that sings that song, and, you know, everybody say yeah, right? I'm going, he goes, no, man, this guy's like, so I really, if I didn't get up that Sunday and go with him, he wanted to get the gig. I said, I'll go. He said, I need a band, you know, pretty much to back me up, and, you know, I said, okay, I'll go. And he's an old dear friend, Richie DiLorenzo, and if it wasn't for him waking me up, I probably might have gone into the jazz world, but I guess everything happens for a reason. I really believe that, you know, you're led in a path to learn new things. And when I got to the audition, essentially there was 200 guitar players, 200 bass players, and somehow he fought. I said, I'm going. This is ridiculous. I don't know what this is all about. You know, And I'd heard at the time Chick Corea or somebody was looking for a guitar player, and that's what I wanted to do, you know. And he says, no, we'll get in there, we'll get in there. So you get in there, it's like a game show. You got to take a number, guitar player number one, and then you basically sit there and you get eliminated depending on, you know, what you're doing. Now everybody knew Stevie Wonder stuff. They had the books and the music, right? And I just show up with this guitar, actually, you can see it's very well worn. I sit down, first I show up with my, you know, in Jethro Bodine, you know, overalls with my long hair, so I look like Jethro Jesus, you know. And I sit down, I have a guitar thing with case with no handle. I sit down and one of the guys said, hey, what are we playing? What song? And they're ready to, and Steve just kind of went, just follow me. And he starts breaking in to a jazz progression. I forget, he started playing giant steps and all kinds of stuff. This is basically what I was studying, you know? So talking about being in the right place at the right time. He's a solo guitar player, number 6, number 2, and about 3 hours later, I said, can I get up and go to the bathroom? And I'm realizing I'm still in this thing, and then they stop, and I see an argument going on the side, right? And years later, Ira Tucker, the publicist, told me, he said, hey, you don't know this, but, you know, we were arguing about you being in the band because back in the 70s, early 70s, 60s, we were still coming out of the racial thing. He says there was only one white person allowed per black band. So, and they already had a white trumpet player. So as you can see, they got a dilemma, right? And Steve's very, you know, he's a guitarist. He's very bullheaded. And he probably doesn't even remember this, but I got it repeated to me so many times by different people. Essentially, he asked me what sign I was, right? And back then I really wasn't that adept of astrology or anything, and it kind of was noisy. And I said, I'm Italian. And he goes, see that? He's not white, he's Italian. You're in the band.